वैसे अदरवाइज वो जो पहले जैसे स्टॉक मार्केट्स में बहुत ऊंचा नीचा हुआ करता था, वो काम पॉसिबल नहीं है इसके लिए।
बहुत सारे स्टेप्स लिए हैं,
बहुत सारे स्टेप्स लिए, दैट्स राइट, बहुत सारे स्टेप्स लिए।
थोड़ा मनीष जी, ये लोगों को आप म्यूट कर सकते हो क्या साथ साथ?
मनीष,
चलो सर, मैं म्यूट करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, पर
नहीं, आप होस्ट बना दीजिए ना, को होस्ट बना दीजिए किसी को।
अपनी फीलिंग सर, मैं होस्ट खुद बन सकता हूँ, पर मेरे को क्लेम का ऑप्शन नहीं मिल रहा है वो।
नहीं, अभी होस्ट कौन है?
अभी संकल्प सर है सर।
संकल्प जी, आप मनीष को या मेरे को को-होस्ट बना दीजिए। मनीष को बना,
मैं मनीष को बना देता हूँ। मनीष को,
हाँ, सो ही कैन, मनीष जो भी आपको लगे ना, तो यू कैन म्यूट।
हाँ जी, थैंक यू सर।
I'll suggest एक बार हम पहले लोगों को वैसे रिक्वेस्ट भी कर सकते हैं कि वो अपने आप म्यूट कर लें, जिससे थोड़ी एक्सटर्नल नॉइस जो है वो ना हो बेसिकली।
सर, पिछले दो साल में कोरोना में ना, इट हैज बीन ओनली जूम एंड वेबएक्स। थोड़ा प्रोटोकॉल अपने आप बन गया है।
बन गया।
तो पहले लोग अजीब तरीके का बिहेवियर भी आपने देखा होगा स्क्रीन पे जब वीडियो ऑन हो जाता था, बट नाउ पीपल हैव बिकम प्रोफेशनल एज फार एज
नहीं, अब इंडियंस खासे प्रोफेशनल हो रहे हैं जी। देखिए, वी आर वेल इन टाइम टू अटेंड द मीटिंग्स, दे आर ऑल वेरी प्रॉपर्ली ड्रेस्ड, बड़े मतलब बिल्कुल अब एक जैसे एक वी आर जस्ट गोइंग अप द स्केल बेसिकली। और वैसे भी अब तो जगह जगह पे हमारे लोग लगे हुए हैं बेसिकली अपना सारे प्रोफेशनल्स में, और सारी कई तो गवर्नमेंट्स ही हैं जो हमारे ही लोग चला रहे हैं। आप ब्रिटेन देख लें, कनाडा देख लें, यूएसए के जो इम्पोर्टेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं वो सारे हमारे इंडियंस ही हैं बेसिकली जो चला रहे हैं। तो
यस सर, गुड आफ्टरनून सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच। आपने सही कहा, कोविड के चक्कर में लोगों ने बहुत कुछ समझ लिया है, सीख लिया है
जी।
एंड डिजिटल जो रिवॉल्यूशन है, कोविड ने बहुत अच्छी तरह सिखा दी है।
ये राजेश अग्रवाल हैं मेरे,
चाहे फाइनेंशियल ट्रांजैक्शंस हो, चाहे मीटिंग्स हो, चाहे इंटरैक्शंस हो।
हाँ, बहुत बढ़िया। ये राजेश अग्रवाल हैं, मेरे कलीग हैं आजकल नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट में। ही इज एडमिनिस्ट्रिंग दैट इंस्टीट्यूट बेसिकली, और काफी नॉलेजेबल हैं और काफी फाइनेंशियल्स के ऊपर में काफी चीजें ये करते रहते हैं। तो दैट इज द पॉइंट।
So NIFM based out of Faridabad.
NIFM based out of Faridabad. That's right.
Interesting.
That's right. संकल्प जी 12:04 हो गए हैं मेरे ख्याल, आप कर लें शुरू, थोड़ा बीच बीच में लोग ज्वाइन करते रहें। What do you say?
Yes sir, I think we should start with this program.
कर लीजिए।
So basically, why did we start for today's webinar? The main purpose was to introduce people with commodity investing. If you know, throughout these 2-3 years since when the pandemic started, there has been an uncertain environment throughout the world. And many people think that there would be a change in the world order. When we say a change in the world order, the economies, the way they are operating will change. Like before pandemic, there was prevalent, globalization was prevalent, liberalization was prevalent, and there was a free flow of money, there was free flow of resources. But after pandemic, people and economies as a whole has shifted. There is a change in the pattern of thinking. The economies are becoming more and more conservative in the sense that they want that the economy, the country itself should be more self-reliant. And you can see a lot of changes which are coming in the mindsets of people as well. If I talk it from an investing perspective, अगर हम इन्वेस्टिंग को देखें, एक टाइम होता था कि मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द मनी और फंड्स इनफ्लो जो रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स का होता था, फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट्स में होता था और इन प्रॉपर्टीज। बट करेंटली आप देख सकते हैं कि वो माइंडसेट चेंज हो रहा है and फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट्स में भी इतनी अच्छी रिटर्न्स नहीं आ रही, एंड प्रॉपर्टीज और लैंड उसमें भी इतना अच्छा रिटर्न आज की डेट में नहीं आ रहा. From that perspective, we thought, why not introduce our members with a new type of alternatives in investing, and which we felt that basically commodities is a sector which is very niche area and बहुत लोग इसके बारे में नहीं जानते. We are very fortunate to have with us Shri Sanjay Gakhar ji. He is the Vice President of Multi-Commodity Exchange of India, and by qualification he is a BTech in Agricultural Engineering, postgraduate diploma in Rural Management, IRM and Ahmedabad, IRM Anand. He has also done a certificate course in shipping and documentation from IAFT. He has an extensive experience of approximately 17 years taking care of achieving business targets in terms of trading volumes in commodity derivatives traded on MCX platform. This is achieved through extensive support work on existing products of better retail and hedger participation, relationship management with members, and creating awareness about the Indian commodity derivatives market. His role also involves successful launch of new derivative products of MCX. Before this, he worked as a manager in NEFED. So, sir, we are very fortunate to have you with us, and hope that you will give us a very detailed overview on today's topic, basically investing in commodity exchange, opportunities investing in commodities exchange. Apart from this, I would also like to introduce the moderator of the day, Shri CMA M K Anand ji. He is a qualified cost accountant, fellow member, and an MCom. He did his MBA for finance from Strathclyde Graduate Business School, Glasgow, UK. He joined the Group A Indian Cost Account Service in Central Government 1988 batch. He is the former Principal Advisor Cost in the Ministry of Finance Department of Expenditure. He has worked in various ministries of the Government of India, namely Department of Company Affairs, Tariff Commission, Bureau of India Industrial Cost and Prices, Ministry of Defense, Finance, Department of Commerce, looking after Supply Division, Directorate General of Anti-Dumping, CERC, and Department of Food and Public Distribution. Thank you, sir. We are very fortunate to have you with us. I now hand over the proceedings to Shri Sanjay Gakhar ji, because he is the speaker for today. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Sankalp ji. I hope I am audible. My voice is clear.
Yes, sir.
Your voice is clear. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. This one of the lines which you mentioned about my profile is creating awareness about this market, commodity derivatives market, so to speak. And this objective of being with MCX for quite a long period of time. This is one of my passionate objectives, so to speak. And because this market is new, the coverage which you get about the financial markets is mostly about the stock market, but commodity markets are also very important, very critical, especially for a country like ours, where people generally are talking about the basic raw materials and the pricing behaviors of those raw materials. So I would structure my discussion as I said, and as I shared with you and Anand sir, about why these markets exist, what are the products which are traded on MCX, and how people can fit into the commodities within their overall product or allocation, so to speak. And if there are any questions at the later part of the discussion, I'll be more than happy to address those questions. So I would start sharing my presentation. One second. Hope this is visible, Sankalp, if you can confirm.
Yes, sir, it is visible. Can you do it in slideshow mode?
Yeah. So, as I said, this is a usual disclaimer given by all the people who work with exchanges, that whatever we are going to discuss is for the purpose of awareness about this market, and it is not a strategy to trade, and this discussion is not about how to make money out of this market. So this objective is creating awareness of the markets. So very basic concepts I would start with. So when you talk about commodities, basically in the context of exchanges, this name is for raw materials, which are products at the first stage of the value chain. For example, if you talk about we wear shirts, we consume various commodities, we use a copper cable. Just imagine the first stage of the value chain. For example, in the case of shirts, it is cotton, which is grown as agricultural commodity. In the case of jewelry, gold is extracted, mined out of earth. In the case of petroleum products, the raw material is crude oil. So whenever you think about commodities, you just think of a value chain and go back to the first stage of the value chain. That is where commodities lie. And because everyone here is coming from the costing profession, so to speak, commodities are generally not branded. Therefore, they are traded on the basis of cheapest to produce. So if India is producing a commodity at the cheapest cost, it will outcompete every other country in the world. So you would have observed some of the times we are exporting cotton because India is the cheapest producer of cotton during that period of time. Some of the times you would have observed that we are importing certain items because some other country is able to produce at the lowest prices, so to speak. So they are not branded and they are traded in the market on the basis of quality specifications. So जब आप gold खरीदने जाते हो तो आप you just talk about the quality of the gold कि 24 कैरेट है कि 22 कैरेट है. You don't talk about कि ये मेरे को तनिष्क से मिल रहा है या जोया लुकास से मिल रहा है. Raw material gold is only traded on the basis of quality of gold. And so these are few basic principles of about commodities. Coming to the investment side of commodities, where do they fit in? Except precious metals, like India has been investing in gold and silver since ages. We are the largest importer of gold. Either we are at the top, or we are second to China as far as import of gold is concerned, or consumption of gold is concerned. During 2021, India imported around 1100 tons of gold. अगर आप 1100 टन गोल्ड का वैल्यू निकालोगे तो करीब 5.5 लाख करोड़ का गोल्ड इंडिया ने इंपोर्ट किया है. So they can be treated as investment products, but only limited to the precious metal segment. बाकी जो commodities हैं, they fall in the consumption side. So crude oil which is produced is consumed eventually, in the transportation industry or in the fuel industry. Copper which is produced is used in housing sector, in making various products out of it. Cotton which is produced is used to make threads, yarn, and the shirts we wear. So commodities generally fall in the consumption asset side of the world. They are not the investment side of the world, except precious metals like gold, silver, and platinum, so to speak. And commodities are recyclable. So आपने देखा होगा gold, some of the gold is coming fresh, जो India import करता है, and some of the gold is recycled through the industry. And the other aspect in which they differ from the other financial products is because they are bulky to handle. So they involve warehousing costs. If you want to store, say, for example, sugar, you would need a warehouse. But if you want to store shares or stocks, you don't need a warehouse. Similarly, transportation. If you want to transport a commodity from one place to another, transportation cost would be involved. The third aspect is perishability. Agricultural commodities especially are perishable. We produce, for example, sugar we produce is consumed over a period of say 1 year or one season. Every agricultural commodity is mostly perishable. They don't last beyond a year. So these are few characteristics which, differentiate commodities from other asset classes. Why commodities are important, that also we need to understand. As I said, India is one of the, in terms of geography, in terms of population, we are a pretty large country. We are second largest in terms of population. So our commodity ka consumption for every product would remain at the top, so to speak. So either we will be the largest producer, or we will be the largest importer, or we will be the largest exporter, because our geography is very large. Therefore, commodities would remain very important. And therefore, understanding about the commodities is kind of, of primary importance. If India wants to achieve a target of, say, $5 trillion economy, commodities would play a very important role. The second aspect is, as far as commodity derivatives industry in India is concerned, MCX has, there are 2-3 segments. So futures MCX has a share of 94% last year. In index product, we have a share of 100%. And in options also, we have a share of 100%. The potential of this market is tremendous. As far as derivative market is concerned, the potential is tremendous. And why this industry exists is, jaisa Anand sir ne bola, the commodity prices are not static. They are not, there is not one price throughout the year. The prices keep changing. For example, I have worked with Britannia. So Britannia ka jo bread rehta hai, it is sold at MRP of say 25 or 30 rupees. But if you go backwards, the wheat flour which Britannia is buying from, every supplier, the price is not one price. So the price keeps changing. If you go back to the mandis, still there is more volatility during the day. So prices of commodities change for items which India imports, like nickel, gold, and silver. The forex rate also plays a very important part. You would have got exposure to the hedging mechanism used by importers. So if you have a commitment to supply, say, 10 kilograms of gold, and if you don't hedge on the side of rupee dollar, then probably you are, exposing yourself to a risk. Then geopolitical factors, we are all tracking what is happening in the Russia-Ukraine scenario for the last 2 months. And there have been dislocations as far as, supplies of crude oil or natural gas are concerned. The prices of natural gas have, they are at the top. And locally, you would have seen people are, resorting to strikes to ensure that the prices are brought down. Then there are changes in consumption trends. For example, if everyone shifts to electric vehicles, then the demand for crude oil may reduce over a period of time. And the prices of crude oil and petrol and diesel might come down if everyone, shifts the mode of transportation to electric vehicles. So all these factors lead to changes in the prices of commodities, and therefore the organizations which are involved in value adding on commodities face a risk which is called a commodity price risk. For example, if there is a thread manufacturer like Wadhwa, and Wadhwa buys lakhs of tons of cotton every year, if Wadhwa does not take care of the purchase price of cotton, then they are exposing themselves to, or their balance sheet to the risk coming from, volatility in the cotton prices. So this risk, the organizations face variety of risks, but commodity price risk is also very important from a balance sheet point of view. So there are two ways of, handling this price risk. One is the spot market. Whatever you need for consumption in the next few months of the year, you go and buy from the spot market. But that is not a practical solution. For example, Britannia, if they consume say 3 lakh tons of wheat flour, it does not make any sense for them to buy 3 lakh tons of wheat flour in one go and keep it and take care of the concerns of warehousing and the warehousing cost, blocking of working capital. So spot market takes away the price risk, but does not address, it leads to more problems, rather than offering a solution. The other transaction which can take care of this price risk is a forward contract. So if you enter into a forward contract with a seller to buy something and it becomes a one-to-one, you would have seen in the forex markets, there are transactions happening between the importers and exporters and the banks. So that transaction is kind of a forward transaction, but you cannot copy that transaction throughout the economy because there is a risk which comes from this kind of transaction, which is called a counterparty default risk. If there are more volatilities in the prices, one of the parties may try to walk away from the deal. And futures, which is a subset of the forward, stands guaranteed to that transaction. So whatever transaction is routed through MCX, it is guaranteed to execution. So if you buy 1 kg of gold on MCX to be delivered after a year, you would definitely get 1 kg of gold on MCX after a year at price at which you have purchased the gold on MCX. So that is the structure of futures markets. We have been under SEBI regulation since 2015. So MCX came into existence in 2003. We were one of the national exchanges given permission by Government of India to launch commodity derivatives. And we had a different regulator which got merged with SEBI. SEBI became the regulator of commodity derivatives market in 2015. And after becoming regulator of the commodity derivatives market and realizing the importance of, and the criticality of commodities as raw materials for various industries and the need for risk management on the part of corporates and small and medium enterprises, SEBI has taken many steps to ensure that this market also grows, in a very robust manner. So as I said, the objective of this market is price discovery and price risk management. Price discovery is sitting today. You can take the price of gold after 6 months on MCX. So if you go to MCX website, there are contracts listed for future, and you can look at the price which is discovered today for deliveries in future. And on the basis of this information, you can decide whether you want to do price risk management at that price or not. The contracts which are traded on MCX are standard contracts. So when I say standard, the only variable which is there on MCX contracts is the price. Rest everything is known to the market, known to buyers and sellers, and it is kind of fixed. So if you say 1 kg of gold on MCX, it means it has a certain purity, 999 or 995 kind of purity, and it will be delivered in Ahmedabad. The GST has to be paid after the invoices. The price which is coming on MCX is not including GST. So GST has to be additional. So all these, features of the contract make it a standard contract. And settlement on MCX happens in two ways. One is the daily settlement. I hope everyone is aware about the mark-to-market concept. Whatever increase or decrease is there in the price of the contract is either given or taken from the party who has done the transaction. And then there is a final settlement. So final settlement mostly in most of the commodities is by way of deliveries. So there are compulsory delivery contracts on MCX, and then there are cash settled contracts on MCX, which cannot be settled through delivery. So in the case of compulsory delivery contracts, if you are standing till the expiry of the contract on the contract, you would definitely, if you are on the buy side, you will get delivery. If you are on the sell side, you would need to give delivery. And cash settled contracts are settled by way of payment of cash difference between the buy price and the squared off price. So 4 segments are traded on MCX broadly: bullion, which is gold and silver; energy, crude oil and natural gas; metals, base metals, aluminum, zinc, lead, nickel, and copper; and some agricultural commodities like cotton and menthol oil. So this is the ecosystem which is available for trading on MCX, and we have seen that a variety of participants come to MCX, with a variety of objectives. So somebody wants to manage the price risk, he would come as a hedger. somebody wants to take the price risk, he would come as a speculator. And somebody who is trying to remove the disparity between the spot market and the futures markets would come as an arbitrager. This is a typical, screenshot of the trader workstation, so to speak. So whenever you access MCX trading system, this is the screen which would come in front of you. Coming to the investment side again. So this screen is on the basis of historical price behavior of gold and Nifty 50. So you can clearly see that there is a negative correlation between gold prices and the stock market index. So when the stock market index is down, gold is up. So people who are looking at diversification of their portfolios, and probably you would have heard like terms like Sharpe ratio, which is like risk adjusted return. So people who are if you want to diversify your portfolio, one way is that you diversify across sectors, then diversify across segments or product classes. So gold kind of fits into that scheme of things when you want to achieve the diversification and have better risk adjusted returns. And this graph is on the basis of real data, and you can see that they have kind of 100% negative correlation. So one entity which is very prominent on commodity markets is hedger. Hedger is somebody who has the price risk but is not interested in keeping that price risk. So anyone who has a real interest in the commodity is a hedger for us. And so there are two types of basic transactions. One is the long hedge, when, for example, he has an order in his hands, but he does not have the raw material. So what he does is he goes to MCX and buys on MCX. And whenever he gets the raw material, he squares off his transaction, or he can get delivery from MCX as well. Short hedge, if you have material with you, but you don't have a buyer, then you do a short hedge on MCX. You sell on MCX, and when you actually do the transaction in the physical market, you come out of your trade on MCX. Some products I would like to talk about. So within gold, MCX has 4 variants. So there is a 1 gram contract, there is a 8 gram contract, जिसको हम लोग अशरफी या गिनी बोलते हैं. There is a 100 gram contract which is called gold mini, and there is a 1 kg contract which is gold regular. So the value of regular contract or 1 kg contract as of today would be around 52 lakhs. So this is mainly used by HNIs and people who are actually importing gold in larger quantities. But there is a retail angle to it also. You can buy 1 gram contract also on MCX. So all 4 variants, 1 kg to 100 gram to 8 grams to 1 gram, and all of these contracts are compulsory delivery contracts. Similarly, silver, 30 kg, 5 kg and 1 kg, all compulsory delivery contracts. Since 2004 to say last year, there has been delivery of 127 tons of gold through the MCX system, so to speak. So when you value this delivery at today's prices, it comes to around 60,000 crore. So 60 or 65,000 crore worth of gold has been delivered through the MCX platform. And if you include silver to the extent of 4,000 tons, then around 1 lakh crore worth of gold and silver has been delivered through the MCX system. Base metals, we have, as I said, we have 5 contracts: aluminum, copper, lead, nickel, and zinc. All are compulsory delivery contracts, and they became compulsory delivery contracts in 2019 on the instructions of SEBI. And we have seen tremendous interest from the corporates to use MCX as a platform for giving and taking deliveries, especially during the Corona period when there were, the normal supply chains were disrupted. People came to MCX to deliver, and on the buy side, people came to MCX to take delivery of the base metals. And we have seen more than 2 lakh tons of deliveries of base metals on MCX in the last 2 years. Energy contracts are cash settled, crude oil and natural gas, so they don't result into deliveries. As far as agri contracts are concerned, cotton is a compulsory delivery contract, and mentha oil is also a compulsory delivery contract. So if anyone if you come across any corporate or SME or entity actually involved in buying and selling of commodities, you can refer to MCX, refer them to MCX, and this becomes additional channel for pricing, for sourcing, and for selling the commodity they have, or for risk management. The compulsory delivery contracts have last 5 working days as the delivery period. So if you want to sell on MCX and the contract is say expiring on say 5th of April, so last 5 working days of the contract become the compulsory delivery contracts, and you can come and deliver on the exchange platform on any of these days. The delivery which you give on MCX is randomly given to the people on the buy side. So last 5 days become the delivery days for both buyers and sellers. So whichever material is brought to MCX, we have a similar system. You have DMAT system in the stock market. We have a system called ComRis in commodities. And the material which is coming to MCX is ensured to be of the same quality which is given in the contract. And for agricultural commodities, it is quality tested. For items like gold and silver, it has to be accompanied by the quality certificate, the original quality certificate. So if I say you will get 24 carats of gold on MCX, it is guaranteed that you will get 24 carats of gold on MCX. Because physical deliveries also entail warehousing of the material. So if you intend to keep the material after taking delivery from the MCX warehouses or vaults, then there are warehousing charges, obviously. But the warehouse charges are very nominal. And for 1 kg of gold, for example, you have to pay 35 rupees per day. So that is the warehousing charge. So on a percentage basis, if you calculate, it becomes very less. Similarly, for base metals, we have warehousing charges. For cotton, we have warehousing charges. Mentha oil also, we have warehousing charges. So in terms of trading statistics, MCX does around both sides. We do around 50,000 crore of transactions every day in the future segment, and around 30,000 crore worth of transactions in the option segment. So these are 2 broad segments which are trading on MCX. If you want to use the MCX platform for trading or connecting with the market, obviously you have to open an account with the broker. I hope that you know about the process of opening an account with a broker. So MCX has a list of brokers, and it is you need to have, fill a KYC form, and broker would share some documents with you which you need to. Probably people who have traded in the stock market would understand this process. There are certain do's and don'ts. People come to you giving guaranteed returns kind of promise that if you park your money with me, I'll give you guaranteed return. Kindly don't believe in that. And also, for whatever trades you do on MCX, kindly make sure that you have a record of those transactions. So we are active on social media also for creating awareness about the market. And the other segment which I was talking about, options, it has grown tremendously well. जो लोग stock market की options को track करते हैं, commodity options also become an additional instrument to trade. And we are like live from 9 in the morning to 11:30, 11:55 in the night. So in terms of time also, there is additional time to kind of use your trading skills, so to speak. Then the third important aspect of commodities is the index product, which SEBI has kind of permitted us. I would just talk about that because that product is kind of most suitable for addressing your investment concerns. So when you talk about index, you would have heard about Nifty and Bank Nifty and Sensex. Similarly, we have sectoral indices on MCX called Bull Dex, Metal Dex, and Energy Dex. The weightage assigned to gold, for example, in Bull Dex, and to silver in Bull Dex remains constant throughout the year. So during for 2022, gold has a weightage of around 64% and silver has a weightage of 36%. Now, whatever price change takes place in gold and silver is reflected in the index, and these products are cash settled. So some people don't come to commodity exchange because they are afraid of कि delivery lag jayega to gold mein Ahmedabad mein kaise lene jaunga and all that. But if you want to if you want to invest via the index instruments globally, अभी इंडिया में तो नया चालू हुआ है, but globally the assets under management and dedicated to the commodity segment are managed through the index products. So there is a portfolio diversification. In one contract, you are getting exposure to all the base metals. In one contract, you are getting exposure to both silver and gold. In one contract, you are getting exposure to crude oil and natural gas. So portfolio diversification is there, and it has a low correlation to stocks. So if you are doing Buldex, as I said, gold has a low correlation with stocks. So it becomes a true diversification, so to speak. And the index products on MCX are cash settled. So there is no fear of delivery, and there is no additional margin, so to speak. And with this, I would the structure presentation, I would like to end here. And if there are any questions, I would like to take those questions. Sankalp, over to you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Sanjay ji. I think it was a very detailed and very enlightening presentation. There are some of the questions which I have, but before that, I would like to ask, we are very fortunate that we have two illuminaries which I can see in the screen. One is Dr. Pankaj Gupta. He is basically the Dean of OP Global Jindal University. He has joined with us. And the other is CMA Chitranjan Chattopadhyay ji. He is the Central Council member of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. And he is, coincidentally, he is in the BFSI committee of the council as well, which is banking financial sector. So, Chitranjan sir, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there definitely because I was enjoying the session. But I'm in a very, casual dress because I'm just enjoying the day, Sunday, with the MCX presentation. So I'm not muting my video, just I'm going through the audio channel. First of all, I congratulate you that this particular topics of the, and especially I have already commented in my chat box also, the brilliant presentations was going on, the MCX. And I think it is giving some, I'm feeling rather enthusiastic that let us have some certificate course on this MCX also, because this is at all, I understand that much, propagation of knowledge is yet to be done amongst our members. So I'll be definitely looking forward for having involvement with Mr. Gakhar, who has brilliantly presented. And I congratulate you, Sankalp, that you have done a very good job for us, at least in this morning. We have learned a lot. Because many issues I did not have any idea, but during this discourse, I could listen, and I thought that let us have a way forward for having some certificate course on MCX also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Dr. Pankaj Gupta ji.
जी नमस्कार संकल्प जी, बहुत अच्छा लगा. मैं भी थोड़ा आज इस समय हॉस्पिटल में कहीं बैठा हूँ. My mom is not well, so I'm in Vedanta, Gurgaon at the moment. But very good session, and I really would like to compliment the speaker and to you, Sankalp ji, and to Anand sahab. बहुत ही अच्छा है. My heartiest compliments.
Pankaj sir, we have done I think few programs with OP Jindal Global University also. I have visited the campus myself, and I have interacted with the students there.
ठीक है सर, कभी आप आइए सर, it would be really great. मैं बीच में थोड़ा टाइम चला गया था. I went to another university as a vice chancellor. Now I'm back there.
Okay,
so it will be my pleasure to invite you.
So I'll take your number from Sankalp.
जी.
Sure,
I have one question. May I ask one question here? May I ask a question to our learned speaker?
Yes, sir.
Regarding MSME, I was listening from him that MSME can utilize this MCX in a very effective way for their, their supply chain and cash management. They can do it better way. So will it be further elaborated before us so that we can take it forward for our, because we have got a task force on MSME and startups, we can spread the message on that also. I'll be just looking forward some of the tips. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Mr. Gakhar, please. I just want to listen from him some more about this MSME, how the MSME will be benefited out of this particular MCX platform.
I'll just take 2 minutes and subsequently I'll do a one-to-one discussion with Chattopadhyay sir whenever it is convenient to him. But broadly, for example, India does not produce nickel, and nickel is consumed in large quantities. Nickel, we know it is used for manufacturing of steel and everything. Similarly, copper is also kind of consumed in larger quantities. Now, large corporates, they are able to hedge in the overseas markets because they have access to the overseas exchanges, and they have permissions from RBI to hedge overseas. But if the price risk comes down to the small manufacturers or people belonging to the SMEs and micro SMEs world, then they are kind of vulnerable to the price risk. So our message, and if you are tracking, for example, nickel prices in the last 2 months, they have been hugely volatile. So if you are on the wrong side of the purchase or sell, the entire balance sheet can get affected. So we have a mission to reach out to SMEs and micro SMEs through the association platforms. For example, we are in touch with the associations which represent the interest of SMEs and micro SMEs, and we reach out to them via that platform. But if you have access to such platforms, Chitranjan sir, I would love to explore that platform and reach out to people in the base metals industry.
Let me tell you, this is the month we are observing MSME and Startup Month. So we'll be having one validity session on 30th April of this month. I'll be having a talk with our Sankalp ji, and I'll be having your connectivity. And that way, we shall be inviting you to address this issue before all, MSME in chambers
Great.
and MSME participants.
Great.
30th April, sir. Okay.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So, Sanjay ji, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How can we become a member of the MCX, and are there any benefits to this?
So, I hope you understand the working of the stock market, because I think, and I know that you have some connection with the stock market. So when people become members of the exchange, it is a company or it is an individual who becomes member of the exchange, and they are looking at it from a revenue point of view, that either you would trade using your own working capital, or you would provide a platform to your clients to trade on MCX. So you would have come across members like Globe, SMC, or Zerodha. They are our members, and they use the membership for creating profits for themselves. So if you are looking towards becoming a member of the exchange, I would suggest that for some time, because that is a costly proposition. Member banna MCX mein, sir, the minimum cost is around 25 lakhs. So I would suggest that you first get exposure to how this industry works, and separately, one-to-one I can discuss with you, and then look at it from a commercial angle, so to speak, whether that kind of investment makes sense for a long-term opening of a new business activity for you. But this is open to every citizen of India, every company which is registered in India, and anyone can become member of the exchange, provided they meet certain requirements. So it is not a big task to become the member, but what would you do after becoming the member is more important, sir.
Thank you, Sanjay ji. But so I have another question, jo isse relating here.
Yeah.
Now you said that it is very much similar to like stock trading.
Yeah.
One of the most insightful statements that I heard, or a quote that I heard in stock trading, is that 97% of the retail investors. So majority of the stock market is run by institutional investors, and there are basically the other chunk is the retail investors, like people like us. So 97% of this was, I think this was a quote by the Zinutha founder.
I know where are you going.
Yes, so
he said 99%. No, he said he said 99%, not
yes,
97.
99% of the retail investors are not able to recover interest rate or get the rate of return as much as they get from a normal FD in case of stock market, because they don't have access to the capital, to resources. It is only 1% who is able to beat that rate of return. So what is your take on this from the point of view of commodity?
So as I said, I'll tell you from where that statement is coming. So हम सब लोगों ने देखा है कि जिन लोगों ने 15 साल पहले सिप शुरू किया होगा, उनका सिप has grown to a sizable number. आज भी अगर आप शुरू करोगे तो 20 साल बाद probably it would be FD, way down. So average return coming from the SIP route would be around 10 to 12% depending upon where you have parked your money. So ये जो 99% है, ये ट्रेडिंग वाली साइड है कि आप ना टीवी के सामने बैठे हो और आपने इन्फोसिस लिया और जब तक बिकेगा नहीं तब तक मेरे को चुल लगी रहेगी. So trading is a skillful activity, but investment is, you can leave it to your advisors or you can do yourself. But long-term investment, obviously, if you are trying to become a $10 trillion economy and you become part of this, mission to becoming 10 trillion, obviously you would harvest good enough investment returns. Why he made that statement? उस पे Twitter पे काफी चर्चा भी हुई थी, and because he is going to launch a mutual fund of his own. So what he's trying to say is, don't trade yourself, but come via the mutual fund route. I think that was the indirect hint he was trying to give.
Okay. So basically what you want to speak is that from a retail investor perspective also, if you are trying to play a long-term game in investment, then of course it will be beneficial. But if you are more of short-term gains, then there is always a certain component of risk involved, which might not always give you the desired level of return.
Yes, sir. Trading is very. हम लोग क्या है मतलब हम लोग we think that trading is very easy, but your hard-earned money is involved and मतलब कोई भी चीज करने के लिए अगर उसको नीरज चोपड़ा को वो थ्रो फेंकना है तो उसके लिए भी 15 साल प्रैक्टिस किया होगा, 10 साल किया होगा. इधर हम सोचते हैं कि मेरे पास 1 लाख रुपए होगा तो मैं हीरो बन जाऊंगा. मतलब that it is not that easy. It needs certain skill set and education and mindset. So till that time we have a trading skill set, investment for a longer horizon is the best route, so to speak. That is my personal take on this.
M K Anand ji, you have any views on this?
Thank you, Sankalp. I thought you have already forgotten me by. Thank you very much. You see, first of all, compliments for choosing a wonderful topic for our professionals. And secondly, Mr. Gakhar's presentation was so simply made out that I think most of us have understood the nitty-gritties of the broad nitty-gritties of the MCX. Sanjay, thank you very much for a very illustrative presentation. However, I have few questions on this, though my job was to moderate, which was, I think, unintentionally taken over by Sankalp himself, but then it has no issues. It has no issues. I have few questions.
सर जो उम्र में होते हैं छोटे उनको अधिकार रहता है.
It is. No, I have few questions. You see, MCX, as we have been comparing it with the broadly stock market trading, and you have really commented very pointedly that it is not that easy. मेरे इसमें 2-3 सवाल हैं. In case of multi-commodity exchange, as most of the commodities are to be physically delivered, then how do we hedge the risks of natural calamities? Say in case of cotton or say in case of that. That is my first question. Second, in case of bullion or in case of crude, you have spoken about the forex hedging, basically that is rupee dollar or whatever exchange. But you see, as in trade, as in stock markets, and I came to know that you have also options, option markets. I was not very sure about it, but you mentioned that option market is there. You see, in case of stock markets, in option in option segment, we have the facility to write calls and puts and then hedge ourselves against the trading possibility, against the trading nuances of the share. So do you have such type of options available? You have the options available in MCX, but do you have the facility of writing calls and puts type of some things into the commodities or not? So that means if it is not, then only the forex speculations we are trying to hedge only.
Okay.
These are my two questions for the time being. I have few more. As you go ahead, then I will be discussing on those.
So I will address the second question first. So
Okay.
When I spoke about the forex thing, it is not that we have a platform for trading rupee dollar pairs. We don't.
Yeah, you don't have. It is with yeah, it is separate.
It is only जैसे आप गोल्ड इंपोर्ट करते हो ना सर, इंडिया only imports. India does not mine gold.
Correct.
But when you are importing gold and the rupee dollar goes against you, for example, 75 rupees dollar tha, by the time your consignment lands, it becomes 80 rupees to a dollar. 80 rupees a dollar हो जाए, तो आपका landed cost बढ़ जाएगा. It is as simple as that. But if you hedge on MCX, that risk is also kind of taken care of.
Okay.
So 6 महीने बाद अगर आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खरीद रहे हो, 6 महीने बाद का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खरीद रहे हो, so बीच में जो भी रूपी डॉलर की फ्लक्चुएशन होगी, you don't need to worry about that. So that was the intention of speaking on forex. The second thing, options.
Yeah.
Except the underlying contract. Share market में stocks या index is the underlying contract. I hope you would agree with me.
Yeah, surely.
हमारे यहाँ पे commodity futures are the underlying contracts. Except the underlying contract, all the nuances of options are same.
Okay.
So whatever options trading you are doing in the stock market.
So we can write down calls, puts, everything.
Yes,
there are
everything.
All those. Okay.
And the second aspect which I have not highlighted.
Yeah.
If you track the volatility, जो आनंद सर जो call put write करता है ना, वो देखता है कि उसको premium कितना मिल रहा है.
Absolutely.
And premium is a function of volatility.
Yeah.
And volatility in commodity markets is little higher compared to the stock market.
Correct.
I have data on that. So Nifty volatility is say 1.2%, but crude volatility is more than 2% every day.
Okay.
So people who are trying to write options, they would obviously look at underlying contracts where the volatility is higher, so that they can earn more premium.
Absolutely.
In that sense, options in commodities also make more sense. We have started only just now.
Yeah, that is what I was going to ask. It was not there, at least in
You're right.
Very near past, it was not there. So I was very intrigued by this thing when you mentioned that options are there. So that is why I asked this question. It was not there. I think recently you have been allowed to do these derivatives.
Yes, we were allowed in 2017, but it became active only last year. You are right.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. And thank you, Sanjay, for clearing this aspect. And then my first question, that in case of commodities where the stress is on physical deliveries, which is very strenuous, in my opinion, speculations is gone out of the wind, except by natural calamities. If something happens, then are there any hedging options available, or the traders just go bust because of that?
No, sir. If you are interested in giving or taking deliveries, then आपका वो speculation वाला angle is finished. You don't have speculation angle. Correct. I'll give you 2 examples, or I can give you 3 also. So as I said, Corona में normal supply chains were dislocated.
Yes.
There were disruptions. पूरा India बंद हुआ पड़ा था.
बंद हुआ पड़ा.
If you look at the deliveries which happened during that time through the MCX platform, huge amount of base metals have been delivered, which means जिसको import करके delivery देना था normal buyer को, he also came via MCX, और जिसको लेना था he also came to buy via MCX. पता था कि बॉम्बे में delivery आ जाएगी. So this became a parallel channel of sourcing and supplying base metals in the light of dislocation in the normal channel of supply and purchase.
Okay.
And Vardhaman mein, when we launched cotton, I was stationed in Ludhiana for quite number of days. People look at MCX rates and then they decide कि मंडी में क्या भाव पे खरीदना चाहिए. They have to buy from the mandis every day because cotton is a daily consumption.
नहीं, cotton तो है, but in case of MCX, I am doing a future contract.
Yes, sir.
Now in that situation, if some natural calamity happens, now I have to give delivery. तो मैं कहाँ से लाऊंगा delivery?
नहीं, that risk obviously, जैसे कोई gold import करता है और वो MCX के प्लेटफॉर्म पे गोल्ड की डिलीवरी छोड़ता है, तो वो ये वाला कैलकुलेशन तो उनको करना पड़ेगा कि मेरा गोल्ड लैंड करेगा नहीं करेगा, बाय द टाइम MCX में मेरे को डिलीवरी छोड़नी है, एंड बायर को तो खाली पैसा लेके आना है, बायर को तो कुछ नहीं करना. बट जो सेलर है, सेलर हैज टू इंश्योर दैट ही हैज मटेरियल अवेलेबल विद हिम.
नहीं, गोल्ड के केस में तो संजय जी चलिए कोई शिप लेट हो गया या कुछ हो गया. I was just wondering the impact of natural calamities in our commodity markets, particularly like cotton and other.
नहीं होता सर, ज्यादा नहीं होता आनंद सर.
अच्छा, ज्यादा नहीं.
It is a normal activity. जो लोग इस ट्रेड से जुड़े हुए हैं, for them it is a normal activity.
It is a normal activity. चलिए ठीक है. तो but like stock markets, जैसे हम लोग जो भी स्टॉक मार्केट में ऑपरेट करते हैं, you see, एक तो आपने इस इतने कॉम्प्लिकेटेड इशू को, I'll give due credit to Sankalp who thought about it कि commodities को भी हम लोग इंट्रोड्यूस करें. मतलब हम लोगों के लिए ये एक बड़ा I will say a very हवा टाइप का एक ये सब्जेक्ट है. I'm talking about myself. My colleagues are much more intelligent than me. मैं अपने लिए ऐसा आपको बता रहा हूँ. And secondly, in case of MCX, you see, stock markets में, as you have very rightly pointed out and few of our other colleagues have pointed out, 1 लाख रुपए हुए तो हम लोग पहुंच जाते हैं कि भैया अब हम एक्सपर्ट हो गए. But I think Sanjay ji, in stock markets, the back to back interaction or the network is much more larger than in case of MCX. तो आप लोग अब जैसे आप लोग 60,000 करोड़ का कारोबार कर रहे हैं बेसिकली, which may be primarily gold or which may be primarily other products basically. तो लोगों को एजुकेट करने के लिए, जैसे अभी our चित्तोदा also mentioned that we will be undertaking at the institute level certain certificate courses and all that. So at the level of exchange or at the level of SEBI, what are the, I will say, are there any directives that it should be made more aware or people should be made more aware, या in general ही जो investing community है वो अपने आप attract हो रही है आपकी तरफ?
नहीं sir, I will tell you. So last year, I take care of northern region, which is like Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Jammu Kashmir, जो north के states हैं. जी. And I have a very small team of 5 people. But we would have done more than 400 programs in the last one financial year.
Achha.
To create awareness. And we are lucky that we are talking about this market today.
Okay.
This is just the beginning, sir. मतलब हमारा तो mandate है, apart from, relationship management with the members.
Yeah. To educate the general public, to educate the professionals also. Yeah.
SEBI ने हमारे को ये mandate दिया हुआ है. Like
correct.
One event next Saturday we are having आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव जो सीरीज चल रही है पूरे इंडिया में. Under that umbrella we are having one event. It is a daytime event, and I would request those who are interested to come in a SEBI kind of physical event. I would request Sankalp ji via you and Anand sir via you, I would like to request कि जो भी आना चाहे, kindly let me know. It would be a 1 hour or 2 hour kind of discussion and followed by lunch.
Right.
So if you have a time, Saturday normally लोग relax भी करते हैं, but this kind of break also can be taken.
तो संजय जी वर्चुअल में लंच तो अपना ही खाना पड़ेगा ना, वर्चुअल?
नहीं वो फिजिकल है सर, वो फिजिकल है.
अच्छा.
हाँ, वो PhD चैम्बर में कर रहे हैं.
PhD चैम्बर में. अब इसमें एक और मेरा छोटा सा कमेंट है जी. When I was with the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission, then we were, as you are aware, कि हम लोगों ने इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्सचेंजेस खोले थे एट दी पोर्टल ऑफ स्पॉट एक्सचेंजेस मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ पावर में, तो उस समय हम लोगों ने भी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के डेरिवेटिव्स के लिए फ्यूचर्स और तो देयर वाज अ बिग dispute is the correct word, that it should be passed through MCX or it should be passed through SEBI. तो आई थिंक यू मस्ट बी अवेयर, अब वो जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के पास में एक वो केस था, वो अब हम लोगों ने मतलब मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ पावर के लेवल पर विड्रॉ हो गया, एंड आई थिंक नाउ देयर इज सम सेपरेट मैकेनिज्म गोइंग इनटू दैट.
I can update you on that. I can update.
हाँ, अच्छा आप बताएं.
So this reached, you are right, this reached to the level of Ministry of Power and Supreme Court. And now it has been made very clear कि स्पॉट मार्केट या कैश मार्केट जो आपने while you were there, उसका रेगुलेशन CERC करेगा.
करेक्ट.
एंड डेरिवेटिव मार्केट का रेगुलेशन सेबी करेगा.
अच्छा.
एंड सेबी हैज गिवन परमिशन टू MCX टू लॉन्च इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स आल्सो.
Okay, that's very nice.
So that is a different and very huge market. We are trying.
वो बड़ी huge market है जी, बड़ी huge market है, और आप लोगों का भी शेयर उसमें काफी बढ़ेगा बेसिकली.
हाँ, तो मैं सर CERC के ऑफिस में 4-5 बार जा चुका हूँ अपने.
अच्छा.
कनॉट प्लेस वाले में.
हाँ, वो हमारा वही था जी. मैं वहां से आ गया था जुलाई 19 में. उससे पहले both the parties, SEBI and all that, have gone to Supreme Court, but then फिर वो विड्रॉ कर लिया जी हम लोगों ने. एक कमेटी बन गई थी उसके बाद में.
सेटल हो गया सर. सेटल हो
गया. If some of our other colleagues will like to, I mean, ये एक ऐसा टॉपिक है संजय जी के कम से कम 3-4 घंटे हम इसके ऊपर में डिबेट कर सकते हैं. मैं एक पुराना इंसिडेंट आपको बताता हूँ. मैं व्हेन आई वाज इन ग्लासगो, तो कभी वन वाज आवर प्रोफेसर, मुझे उनका नाम नहीं याद आ रहा, बट ही सेड कि किसी ने कभी सोचा नहीं था कि क्रूड में फॉल आएगी, क्रूड में फॉल आएगी. तो शेल में कोई एक रिसर्चर थे, तो ही हैड प्रेडिक्टेड कि 70s में जो क्रूड मार्केट, ऑयल मार्केट में बड़ा भारी नीचे आया था, तो उन्होंने एक किताब लिखी थी उस समय, द आर्ट ऑफ लॉन्ग व्यू. अगर कोई लोग पढ़ना चाहें तो, बट आप लोगों के पास में रियल लाइफ सिचुएशंस होंगी. तो आई थिंक MCX इज ए वेरी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग एरिया to go into, to debate, to really look at your website, which is a very user friendly. I have gone to that website. It's a very very user friendly. अगर हमारे कोई और colleagues कुछ सवाल अगर पूछना चाहें तो संकल्प जी, we can ask them.
जी हैं, she works, she's a member of ours. तो वो क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहती हैं. ममता गुप्ता जी.
Hello, am I audible, Sankalp?
जी मैम आप ऑडिबल.
संजय जी, मैं एक स्मॉल इन्वेस्टर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से पूछना चाहूंगी. वन इज यू हैव टोल्ड दैट बुलडेक्स इज a trading platform for gold and silver in MCX, and another is that nowadays we are seeing is that SGB in our normal BSE NSE stock exchanges. So will you put some light on the difference between the SGB and the trading on the MCX on the real gold rates? Whether SGB is more useful for small retailer investors, small investors.
Okay, so
that's all my question.
One second.
हेलो.
हाँ, आवाज आ रही है आपको मेरी?
हाँ आ रही है सर, आ रही है.
ओके. देखिए, in the last, agar if somebody tracks that data, in the last 5 years sovereign gold bond में करीब 40-50 हजार करोड़ रुपए का इन्वेस्टमेंट हुआ है, which is उसका जो अट्रैक्टिव फीचर क्या है? अट्रैक्टिव फीचर ये है कि whatever money you park there, वहां पे आपको 2.5% का रिटर्न मिलता है.
Yes.
So that becomes, if you are thinking about long term investment, क्योंकि वहां पे I think 7-8 years का concept है lock in का, या
हाँ 8 years
का. So if you are thinking that long term, तो sovereign gold bond is the best instrument for investing in bullion or gold products, so to speak, क्योंकि अपने को interest भी मिलता है 2.5%, which is very attractive. बाकी जो हम किस गैप को एड्रेस करते हैं, we address the short term gap, कि आपको 1 महीने बाद तेज लग रहा है गोल्ड, या आपका 1 महीने बाद इंपोर्ट का कंसाइनमेंट आने वाला है, तो वो वाला जो नीड है, that will not fit into the sovereign gold bond kind of product.
Okay.
So we have two different objectives. वो लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए गोल्ड में, हमारे यहाँ पे रिस्क मैनेजमेंट, ट्रेडिंग, शॉर्टर ड्यूरेशन, ये सब फीचर्स के लिए फिर एमसीएक्स आता है मैडम.
But otherwise, for a small investor, SGB is the good option.
Yes, fairly good. Yes.
Right. Thank you, Sanjay.
उसको आप मिक्स कर सकते हैं अपना, as I said, gold should be a part of your overall portfolio, क्योंकि दोनों का रुझान अलग रहता है, स्टॉक मार्केट का और गोल्ड का, सो इट थोड़ा रिस्क मैनेजमेंट ठीक हो जाता है.
Right, sir. Right. Thank you, Sankalp. Thank you, Sanjay ji.
Rajesh ji has a question. Rajesh Agarwal ji.
Thank you, Sankalp ji. I was talking about the growth in the MCX and growth in the stock market. Sanjay ji very well shown in a graph. और वैसे भी हमें लगता है, जो हम सब जानते हैं कि स्टॉक मार्केट में अर्निंग्स लेवल इज हायर देन द एमसीएक्स मार्केट, एक्सेप्ट फ्रॉम फ्यू ऑकेजन्स. सर, लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टर को आप कैसे कन्विंस करेंगे कि दे शुड गो फॉर द एमसीएक्स इंस्टेड ऑफ गोइंग फॉर द इन्वेस्टमेंट शेयर मार्केट फॉर द लॉन्ग टर्म, मे बी एट देयर ओन और थ्रू द say a SIP or something else? Thank you.
So as I said, I think it was part of my presentation also. Commodities का direct investment from a long term point of view may not make much sense. For example, agricultural commodities, you cannot invest in sugar or chana for say 5 years, क्योंकि वो तो लेके रख लेंगे तो खराब ही हो जाएगा. But there are certain items like gold, silver, which are traded on MCX. There obviously you can take a long term view, क्योंकि ये हमारे यहाँ पे कंपल्सरी डिलीवरी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स है. तो मान लीजिए आपने 1 ग्राम गोल्ड भी अगर आपने ले लिया, तो ये आपके डीमैट अकाउंट में पड़ा रहेगा एंड इट विल बी एक्चुअली अवेलेबल. कल को आपको डिलीवरी लेना है तो आप वो डिलीवरी भी ले सकते हैं. सो one is portfolio diversification. Second is the kind of time frame you are looking at. For example, आप क्रूड में या नेचुरल गैस में डायरेक्टली इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे, क्योंकि वो वन इज दैट यू हैव टू रोल ओवर योर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, बिकॉज हमारे यहाँ पे फिक्स्ड एक्सपायरी के कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है. सेकंड इज यू कैन इन्वेस्ट वाया दी इंडेक्स प्रोडक्ट्स जो ग्लोबली इंडस्ट्री करती है. वो जितना भी फंड्स अंडर मैनेजमेंट है इन कमोडिटीज, दे आर मोस्टली इन्वेस्टेड वाया दी इंडेक्स प्रोडक्ट्स, क्योंकि उसमें डिलीवरी का इशू नहीं रहता and people keep rolling over their contracts. So I think these are the two aspects, sir, if I have been able to kind of clarify.
Thank you, Sanjay ji. That is the objective makes the difference. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think Chitranjan sir has raised his hand. So, sir, aapka...
Yes. Sanjay ji, you are talking about this, agricultural commodities and others. So far, my knowledge goes that, NABARD has got a forum. That knowledge amongst the, those who are in the ground level about the MCX, it's really, it's not very encouraging, because especially for the agricultural commodity like, jute and others, especially, those explains there are some agricultural areas where only basically this agriculturalists are basically they are concerned about the pricing and how they will get it. They will get the best prices. I think MCX can play a very big role here, no doubt about that. You have told that you are doing awareness program and something like that. So, but I think this matter we can do it. In our institute we have got a agri-cost cell. And we have got our task force on MSME. I think this is the best, opportunity for MCX to associate with us, so that they can spread the knowledge amongst down to the level about this particular. Because now today the price and their wealth creation amongst the farmers are very much required, so that they can feel that yes, this can be also another avenues of their especially for the agripreneurs and others. What is this? What is about this idea? How you can help us? In that case, we shall be definitely looking forward for more association so that we can do it for the benefit of the society itself.
So, sir, thank you very much for highlighting this. I would definitely come and see you and let us see how this can be worked on. So there are two angles to it. We have so not all the agricultural commodities are listed on commodity exchanges. For example, jute पहले काम होता था, jute में अभी काम नहीं होता है.
Okay.
But there are certain items like mentha oil. अभी mentha oil, I don't know कितने लोगों ने सुना है, but जिसने भी फ्रेशनर या माउथ फ्रेशनर या नवरत्न तेल लगाया है,
पर्टिकुलर
वो उसका पर्टिकुलर एक स्मेल रहता है, पंजेंसी रहता है, वो मेंथा ऑयल से आता है. So if you go and mentha oil is produced only in चंदोसी and बाराबंकी, दो जिला है यूपी में. उधर किसी भी किसान को अगर आप पूछो कि मेंथा ऑयल क्या भाव पे बेचेगा, तो he would first look at the MCX screen and then decide कि मेरे को बेचने का है कि नहीं बेचने का. So depending upon, and if you go to say your jeweler tomorrow to buy jewelry और उसको बोलो भैया MCX पे तो ये भाव चल रहा है, आप कैसे इतना बोल रहे हो? So the availability about the price is also very empowering.
Okay.
So that is what we are realizing and seeing. Cotton farmer भले हमारे यहाँ पे ट्रेड करे नहीं करे, but उसको अगर रेट का पता है, so that is good enough empowerment for him. So your suggestion to work with the agri unit at your institution and with the SME unit, I think it is a welcome suggestion, sir, and I'll come and see you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I think we have moved. We have actually had a very enlightening session, Sanjay ji, and there is a time paucity also. काफी अच्छी discussion हुई, काफी collaborative रहा. I would now request Rajesh ji to give a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Sankalp ji. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Before that, thank you very much for organizing such informative program. Back on back, you are organizing such programs, and great applause of thanks to you. Also, I have to convey my great thanks to the great person, Mr. Anand, M K Anand. He is my senior, well-wisher, my elder brother. He has always been of the progressive mindset. He always encourages the new blood like you, and he always bring the right persons onto the right path. He has done a lot for the service, Indian cost account service, that cannot be forgotten by the service. And what to talk about Sanjay ji, he has made every aspect of this MCX so simple that people, as Anand sir was mentioning, people are afraid of understanding of MCX. Like me also, we generally do avoid MCX feeling it is too, volatile and risky. But Sanjay ji has made every point so simple and straight. And also bringing out the difference between the investment in the shares and the share market and the investment in the MCX. And all the participants, there are 70 plus participants, really thanks to them, because they have spared their valuable time on the weekend when people want to enjoy with their family and their friends. They have spared their valuable time to broaden their understanding. That helps the people like Sanjay ji, like Sankalp ji and Anand ji to arrange such informative program again and again. Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks once again, Sanjay ji, and all our participants, and Sankalp for organizing a wonderful program. Rajesh, thanks once again to you also.
Yes, Mukesh ji, namaskar. Mukesh ji, namaskar.
Chitu ji, namaskar. Chitu ji, कैसे हैं? Thank you very much for joining in. And I'm sure at the institute level, हम लोग इसमें कुछ ना कुछ करेंगे जरूर.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you once again. Thank you,
Anand sir and Sankalp ji. You know, it is a pleasure interacting with your institution, and I would come and physically see you, sir, to take it forward. Thank you.
It will be a pleasure. Pleasure will be ours. Thank you very much.
Sanjay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sankalp ji. Yeah.